The secret of getting ahead is getting started, quoted by Mark Twain. Good morning, one and all. With great honor and pleasure, I welcome you all to today's webinar organized by the Postgraduate and Research Department of Commerce, Ethiraj College for Women. Today, we have with us Mr. Srivatsan PB, who will be addressing us on From Data to Decision, the Power of Data Analytics. Now, I request Ms. Himani, editor of Self Supporting Stream, to welcome the chief guest.
We are grateful to have Mr. Srivatsan PB, a commerce graduate from University of Madras, who is currently now practicing as a chartered accountant. He is a qualified chartered accountant, company secretary, and cost accountant. He bagged first position in the state level and fifth at All India level in the final exams of Institute of Cost Accountants of India. He is also a certified information systems auditor, revenue cycle expert, cost and management accountant. He serves as a visiting faculty at Institute of Chartered Accountants and other educational institutions since 2002. He co-founded AGS Health, recently taken over by Baring PE Asia at a valuation of 330 million USD. He performed audit of large organizations like Reserve Bank of India, LIC, NLC, BCCI, IPL, etc. He has designed process workflow applications for several business process applications. He built a ticketing tracker that was used in World Cup 2011 in multiple seasons of IPL, etc. He has also designed data analytics systems, which became an intellectual property of a large healthcare organization in USA and presented papers on data analytics and data science in various forums. We are extremely happy to have you here with us, sir. Now I request Mr. Srivatsan PB to take over the show.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for the nice introduction, Himani. And let's have the presentation on. And this is just scratching the surface. So as we are going to talk about data science, data analytics for the first time, probably I'll tell you what it is all about. And then you can take it forward from there. You can go online, look for resources, and you can say go forward from there. So let's start the session with this. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, probably many of you have done your Excel program courses where you would have done some basic charts or graphs in our terms, graphs and tables, and you are familiar with this kind of summarizing data. So this is referred to as the traditional MIS. So traditionally, they used to provide sales data summaries or production summaries in different departments, and this is rolled up to the organization level. So this is how it was presented probably 2-3 decades back. I'm talking only about computerization where I'm in now. So then, see what it was literally doing was they were just taking data into tables, summarizing it, and presenting it as visualizations to enable ease of understanding. Otherwise, looking at an abstract table is going to be difficult. So once you give it as a chart, say the example chart here, once you see that, you can see that, okay, there is a, say, sales going down the second period, and then it's starting to increase after that, and there is a correction towards the last 2 months, and so on. So it's easy to understand even without looking at the numbers. So that's how it started. Then with advancement of technology and advancement of various software applications to visualize data, we came into the BI, business intelligence, or recent MIS. Could you please move on to the next slide? Okay, so here we had the advantage of real-time management information system. Still, this is a MIS, or management information system, which is providing information to the management. The interpretation of the data is not done by the system, so it provides you data in different dimensions. As you can see, you have some histograms, and then pie charts, and then maps. So heat maps, everything is there in this chart. So you can look at all this. Still, you have to draw your own conclusions. So the advantage is today the technology is so good that, and of course the emergence of internet has also helped a lot, that you can get this data real time. So today stock markets, uh, we are having probably 3-4 crore participants in the stock market today. People are trading, and the data is available real time. What is the strike price for every share in their cash market, futures? All these are real time shown to everyone. How is it practically possible when you have so much of data? So there again, there is no recommendation coming, right? So they are giving you real time information. So whatever is the price at which Reliance is currently being sold or bought, how many people are willing to buy, how many people are willing to sell the share. So all these are shown to you real time. And how do they do this? With the power of large servers, and then they build summaries on OLAP, and then online analytics platform. So OLAP is online analytics platform. So online information is provided to you at your desktop or on your phones today. So that's the say advantage of having real-time MIS. Various tools. Suppose say this itself is a large say area of scope opportunity for young aspiring say students like you all. So summarizing information the right way, and then showing the right visuals. Say where to show a pie chart, and then where to show a bar chart, or where to show a map. All these are in itself a skill. So if you want, when at this point you can break out and say that, okay, I'll pursue a career in just visualization, data visualization. That itself is a career, and there are people who are uh, becoming experts in visualization. So again, tools that are used for these are Tableau, Power BI. You would have heard about some of these tools, or you can note these down. These are the top tools in the market. MicroStrategy, and all these are tools. And there are also various online platforms where you can push your data and visualize your data. So this is so far we have been seeing management information system where you are summarizing information and showing it to somebody. That's it. So there are no insights, or there are no say decisions or decision support. They don't do anything. They just show what is there in different forms. So moving on, next slide, please. Data analytics. So, okay, what is data analytics now? So you are having large data sets. You are trying to examine this data, establish correlation between different data elements within that data set, say age and spending, or say population and total sales. So these are data elements available inside the data set, suppose example. Then you try to establish relationship between these. For that, you need to have the right data set. So you are going to review this data. Suppose I give you the population of every city, every town in the world, and tell you what is their total value of, say, grocery consumption. So every country, every city, every district, you will have what is the total grocery consumption and what is the population. If I give such data, you will be able to analyze it and find out a relationship between, okay, if the population is so much, this is the kind of value we are going to see in the consumption. So I'm just giving you a very simple example, and advanced examples are there. Probably I'll talk about that towards later part of this conversation. So we are having large data sets. We need to dig deeper into those data sets, look at various fields that are available, establish relationships, and then come up with some decisions or ideal information that's required for taking decisions. So that is data analytics. So in short, we'll move on. So after a while, I'll give you some more examples. Then it will be a lot more easier to understand. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay, I don't know whether you are able to see the full screen version of this on your computers, and it will be even more difficult if you are on your phones. So what is shown here is how the computer science or the computer world modern computing has evolved. You all know that Charles Babbage, sometime in the 1950s, found computing devices, and then we had large machines. IBM did it, and so on and so forth. And then in the 1990s, Microsoft came with its Windows, and then a bit before that, we had the Apple. All these are evolving. So I'm just highlighting some of the information on the screen. So this has happened over the last almost 75 years now. If this is the information provided to you, when do you think data analytics started? How old is the data analytics process? I'll give you probably 10 seconds to think, because I don't want to just keep talking, so that you form your conclusions. I know it's not possible for you to respond to questions here. So data analytics. So what we saw is using large data sets, analyzing those to form your decisions. How long do you think we have been doing this as a human race? Using data sets, analyzing it, and taking decisions based on that. Ever since we evolved, right? Ever since the inception of men, or even before that, ever since the inception of living things on this planet, all these living things have been say analyzing data around them, and then taking it to their memory, then over time use that memory to form say analyze the flow of events, and then take next course of action. That's how evolution has happened. That's how we have become so strong a race in the last probably 100,000 years. So who teaches a deer that it should run when it sees a tiger or a cheetah next to it? Instinct. We all say it's instinct, right? This instinct is ingrained into our genes. How did we get it into our genes? Say this instinct, or the most common phrase used for human beings is fight or flight. Fight in a given situation. Will you fight it or fly away from that spot? What do you do? So how do you take these decisions? Say you see a stray dog on the street. What is your immediate response? Do you try to fight it or flight? You just run away from there. Most of us, or I would say 99.99%, would try to avoid that situation. And even if it's the first time we are say experiencing that situation, we do it. How is it? Because it's ingrained into our gene. How did it get ingrained into our genes? Because we are trained. Our say human race has been trained that way over the years during the evolution. So we have been doing this for ages. So what is new now? How has it changed? The change is just the technology, introduction of technology, which helps us analyze huge data sets, not just our own experiences, but also the experience of crores of people across the globe. So everyone's giving their opinion, everyone's say doing their work on the computers, on the internet, which is all getting tracked by various organizations, and they use it for analyze and use it for decision making or directing your decisions. Not their own decision making, they try to support or influence your decisions. Again, if you are say interested in this area, you can go and read about the case study of Cambridge Analytica. This happened about 5 years back. You may all have been in your schools by then. But still, Cambridge Analytica is the case study. Whenever you find time, you can note down and take a look at it. How a data analytics firm influenced the election results in the United States presidential elections. And not far from now, just few months back, you know that one of the local state parties hired an analytics firm to support them in their election campaign, and they eventually became the successful party in the state. So what was helping them? Data analytics. So that's how data analytics has evolved over the say, I would say, millennia, over the last so many millennia. And today it is evolving faster because of advent of technology and internet and availability of tons and tons of data. So moving on, could you please go to the next slide? Yeah. So when you are talking about data analytics, what is the starting point? Should you start with data or start with decision? Where would you start? Again, few seconds for you to think about it. Okay, suppose you have say 100 gigabytes of data with you, all beautifully structured data. You can do a lot of analysis with that data. I give it to you. What will you do with that? Suppose you know how to handle data, you know how to write queries and dig deeper into data. All those are assuming given. Then how will you handle the data? What will you do with that data? Availability of data is not the requirement. Your requirement is some business problem. You want to address that business problem. So you have to start not from the data, but from the decision point. So in between, we have data analysis happening. So from point A to point B, data analysis takes you. So once you have the decision to be taken, then go to the data, underlying data, perform analysis, and come to the decision. So today we all do it. When I give you practical examples, you'll understand. So next slide, please. So this slide gives you a say big picture of the decision-making process. So where is the starting point? Our problem statement. The question is the starting point. What do we want to do, or what is the problem we are trying to address here? And what is that we want to improve? That is what is our first question. Suppose in your own homes, you want to say improve the ambience or improve the way you have stored your say possessions. Where do you start? You start with a problem. Okay, I have this problem. It's not sorted properly. It's not stacked properly. I want to start. So the problem statement is the first step in the decision making process. Then you come to acquiring enough data to analyze and then use that to take your decisions. So question, then acquiring data, analyzing the data. Once you analyze the data, you will find something. So the conclusions could be drawn using the right data set. You cannot just analyze any data and try to find out a solution for some problem. So you have to have relevant data. Once you analyze that relevant data, you will get some insights. So based on the insights, you come up with some say decisions, and then you announce those decisions, apply it, and after application of the decisions, you check whether it is working as expected. If it is not working as expected, you have to roll back to your problem statement. You have to ask again, okay, what is missing? I tried to solve this problem, but it's not getting solved. So what is the problem here? So in your case, say probably there are a lot of families who are looking at their monthly financial budgets and see that they could save more or they could spend less. So, or they want to save more. So the question is how to save more. That's where they start. And then they acquire data. What is the data? Whatever I have been spending over the last 1 year, 2 years, or even before that. If you have that data, summarize it, and then find out what are all the say areas where we have been spending our monies on. Then find out the essential ones and the not so essential ones. So once you find that out, you can say, okay, See, it's not just spend on the essentials and save everything else. Then there is no fun to living. So you set a cap. Okay, from say so far I've been spending 30% of my salary on fun events, entertainment. So let me cut it down a bit, bring it down to 20%, 15%, and take the rest and save it. So how do you get to this conclusion? Because you are analyzing all this and then getting into this conclusion. So see, one thing I did from my own example, I've been having a DTH as well as a lot of these streaming channels, OTTs. So eventually, I thought no one's even looking at these DTH channels anymore. Whatever we want, whenever we want, it's all available on the OTT platforms like your Netflix, Amazon, and so on and so forth. So why even have something just lying around? Spend some money monthly. So I just cut my DTH connections, and we still get whatever we want today on these OTT platforms. Your sports, your entertainment, your movies, everything is there whenever you want. So, so these are some simple examples we can even look at implementing in all our families. Moving on, could you please go to the next slide? So, where is it applied? Data analytics. Excuse me. So these are some of the areas where we see application of data analytics. So transportation and logistics. So each of these I'll give you a bit more, elaborate a bit more. So earlier, was this not happening earlier before say data science or data analytics came into being? No, these were all happening in different forms, in manual forms or in more laborious ways. These were happening, or because of our experience, an individual's experience, it was happening. see, see, many of you have not traveled to your college from your home because of the recent pandemic. So for those who have been going to college sometime back, what you have been doing every day, you used to probably ride your two-wheelers from your home to college. You know you are going to drive during the peak hours when you are going in the morning. So how do you decide which route to take? So every day you take the Mount Road, it's going to be heavy traffic. Is there a way I can come from the other side of the city, from Nungumbakam into your Pantheon Road and then come in? Is there a way to do that? So all this, how did you analyze? You've been manually doing it from your experience. Say for first month, you were exploring these routes. You were trying your best to go reach college on time. And then eventually you found that, okay, if I take this particular route, it's faster in the morning because the traffic is less. So you start using that. The same thing today, when you are going to start, you just look at your Google Maps. What does Google Maps do? It analyzes the traffic real time and then tells you, okay, these are all the 3, 4 possible routes you have, and you can pick one based on your time availability. So if you take this particular route, you will reach there in 15 minutes, and the other one, though shorter, would take longer to reach because of traffic piling up on the particular place in the city and so on. So transports and logistics. Logistics is distributing, collecting goods from different places and distributing it to different destinations. Say what Swiggy does or what Amazon delivery, Flipkart, all these people are doing. So how do they do this? They have tons and tons of data of source and destination. So they have to pick from all these sources, sort them, and take it to different hubs, transport hubs, and from there to different cities, and then distribute it there. Again, take it to smaller sub hubs, and then distribute it. So was this not happening earlier? Yes, it was. The postal service was doing this manually. That's why they used a PIN code. So the PIN code reference was used to sort these postcards or post envelopes and other parcels, and then they send it to different locations, and from those locations they distribute it to further. The last few digits of the PIN code are going to be now used for distributing it to the final destination of the package. So today, since we are buying online, we give a lot of information online. The system is doing it for us. So the system analyzes the data and tells you group all this together, group all this other things together, and then put it all into one airplane, which can take you from Delhi to Chennai, and from Chennai, you can distribute it to all these other towns or places inside Chennai and so on. So all this analysis is done by your data analytics support. And Uber, Ola, the pricing, all these involves analytics. So what is the demand like outside now? If it's raining, there's a lot of demand for Ola or Uber. So the price goes up because there is a lot of demand. Whatever you have been paying regularly, suppose you are paying 100 rupee per ride, now it will cost you 150, 175 because there is a lot of demand. So real-time demand analysis, because everyone's searching for Uber ride at a given point in time, they are able to say get all this data together and then analyze and say, okay, there is a peak demand near Spencer Plaza. So from that point, anyone's going to board to go anywhere, I'm going to increase the price by 15%, 20%, depending on the demand. And after a while, the rain subsides and you're all comfortable, then the price will also come down. You will see that happening real time on the application. So again, when you are using Ola or Uber, if many of you try to board at the same time, you can try it out. When you're all in college, just take all your Ola application on your phone and try to book a ride. You will see that after 5-10 minutes, the system will start reacting. So just try to ride from that particular your college to different parts of the city, and then keep trying different options for 5 minutes. Suddenly you will see that the initial price was say X. Now the new price after 5-10 minutes is going to be surely more than the initial price when 10-15 people are trying at the same time. One person tries 2-3 times, it may not really show results. That's why I said 15 of you keep trying. Then what happens is because you are playing with the system, it knows that okay, there is a demand say pickup happening in this point, so it will start increasing the price. So that's the application in this transport, logistics, and all these companies. Demand forecasting, probably you have had in your syllabus the linear forecasting models and then the regression based forecasting and all that. So using historical data, you use calculators to find out what could be the demand for the next month, next year. Here it's different. So demand forecasting, as I said, even all these Swiggies, Ola, Uber, everyone uses it. So they know real time what is the demand, and they know what's going to be the demand in the next few days, few hours, few months based on their data availability. So during Diwali shopping season, there is going to be a lot of demand for Ola, Uber, all these rides, sharing rides. So what they are going to do is gradually increase the price during that season. Similarly, if there are say points in time when the traffic is high in the city, they read that. They know how long it takes for a ride to go from point A to point B on probably 2-3 crore rides they have done so far, or even more than that. So they know that it's going to take longer during these hours of the day. So let's increase the price during that time, because we are going to be staying in the traffic for a long time. The number of rides somebody can take is going to go down. So let's increase the price during this period. So that's the kind of analysis you can do real time. Similarly, companies can forecast their demand for products, outcomes, their outputs, and be ready for say your market demand anytime. And then of course you have all experienced the first two, you have some experience. The third one you would have experienced a lot. If you are using the same system to search for various things, suppose you are searching for say what to buy for this Diwali, then next time you go into any website, you will see on a say on the panel, there is a right panel where you will see some advertisement from Myntra.com or from Nika.com or all these companies. They'll start advertising on the screen. You will be wondering, today we are so used to it, we don't even wonder why this is happening. So otherwise, what they do is they are tracking your search, and then they are using that next time you are logging into a system. They use that. And how do you track you? With your logins. So if you don't want that, if you feel that that's bugging, if you like it, good. If you don't like it, you can go for different search engines like DuckDuckGo. I don't know whether you have used it or not. DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is the name of the search engine. It's similar to Google, so you can do it. Or you can go for the incognito mode inside Google search itself, so it will not store this information for future use. So search engines are based on that. And the same thing is used even in the entertainment industry. How? They recommend some movies for you, or recommend some videos for you in YouTube, recommend some movies for you in Netflix, or say Disney Hotstar, and all this. When you go and watch a movie, as soon as this movie ends, they'll tell you, or as soon as this series ends or this video ends, they'll tell you, recommend that, next watch this. Or if you go into YouTube, you'll see in your side panel there is a say list of videos you can watch next. So that is how it's used in the entertainment industry. How does this help them? They keep you glued to the screen. It's good for them, they are making a lot of money. It's bad for us because we are stuck to the screen for probably hours together without even realizing that we are in front of the screen. We are just watching these videos hours together. And sometimes we watch it to such an extent that it'll ask you, are you still watching? This comes up on the screen, on the middle of the screen. It looks, because you don't disturb the screen, it keeps playing the next video. So it'll ask you, are you still watching? Suddenly it'll pause and ask you. So that's how data analytics is used in the entertainment world. And then coming to data security, uh, again, based on the type of words used in an email, the source of the email, and how so many other recipient of those emails have reacted to a particular email, Google is able to tell you, or your Yahoo Mail is able to tell you, this looks like a spam. So how do they do this? Or it looks like a risky link, do you want to click this? Or this link looks suspicious, do you want to get into this link? How do a system know that this looks suspicious? So it is not that easy. So they use, again, gigabytes of data, or even terabytes of data collected from across the globe, the reaction to various emails by various people, what happened after they clicked it, because the systems are being tracked. So there is a good thing to it and also a bad thing to it. So we are looking at the good side of the use of technology. So data security is helping you to push emails to spam, or prevent you from clicking on suspicious links. All these are very risky today, right? Say they can wipe your bank account in no minute once you click a particular say link that was sent with a mal intent. So that is where data security is powered by data analytics. And then education. Now, online education, if you go into all these online education platforms, you can see that they'll tell you what is the next course you have to attend. Similar to entertainment, but we do not have experienced this at all, because many of us are not exposed to all these online learning, e-learning platforms. So once you go into this e-learning platform, once you complete a course, it will tell you, okay, now you can do this next course. Do you want to get into this next course? And this is about, you studied about data science. Now, do you want to study more about advanced data science, or something of the sort? So all these are given to you. And then based on your search for different programs, they'll tell you what next to be done, and so on and so forth. So do you want to do this particular program, just that you got a certification in this, it will also help you to get a certification in this other thing, and so on. Healthcare, of course, there's a lot of good application in healthcare today. See, these systems, all these databases are loaded with images. When I say images, your scan reports, your X-ray reports, all these are loaded into your electronic medical record systems. So if you go to a hospital, say uh, decently tech-enabled hospital, you will see that they don't pass this X-ray films on from the X-ray room to the doctor's desk. It automatically appears in his screen. So the doctor sees the X-ray and then tells you, okay, everything looks normal, or there is a small problem here, you have to fix that, and so on and so forth. So how is this? Say today it is done manually, but in many places, systems are screening through these X-rays and telling you what the problem is, because they know how a normal X-ray looks, how a normal lung looks. So when you load a new lung image, it will tell you this image seems to have some problem in this particular area. It will highlight the area and give it to you. Now there is a medical decision making involved, which will be done by a human being. So healthcare, and then based on treatments and outcomes, since electronic medical records are mandatory in countries like US, and it's used heavily in other developed countries, and we are also getting into a lot of electronic medical record systems. So you are able to analyze the disease, treatment, outcome. This relationship can be analyzed based on, say, the performance or the procedures performed on probably every patient in this planet, and then you can draw conclusions that this seems to be working better, because though it is a science, there are some cases which it may fail. You may think that is something and give a treatment, it may go against the patient's life, and so on. So you know that these are all the possible outcomes, and this is the right outcome because in 99.999 cases it has been successful. So that kind of guidance is also possible. It is being provided, not just possible, it is being provided in the healthcare space. And then defense, when you can sit at your, say, Pentagon offices or in our raw wings, and then analyze satellite images, and the satellite images tell you if there are some problems in any of these areas, or you see that enemy is approaching you. You can they can give you warning alerts. So simple examples you would have seen in some Hollywood movies. There is a ship, it's on the high seas, and then if some torpedo is coming towards it, it will highlight that zone. There is something approaching you. Do you want to is it okay, or do you want to give a counter attack, and so on and so forth. So that is some of the basic things. And then today the technology can help you identify uh, say missiles fired at a country, and you can automatically trigger say anti-missile say, artillery from the comfort of your offices. You don't have to even be in the warfield. And there are defense technology where uh, say it's a bug like, when I say bug like, the size of it is just like a bug, a bee or something, and this can go, and if you set a target person, it can go and just attack that target without causing collateral damage. So it's scary to hear, and there is a lot more happening. I'm not elaborating on that, but that is possible in the defense space. So this is a very say advanced area where there is a lot of research happening and a lot of refinement happening. And all these driverless cars you're talking about, and then the drone-based delivery systems we are talking about, all these are powered by a lot of data science and data analytics. So let's move on. If you have more time towards the end, we'll discuss further. Next slide, please. Okay. So, okay, this is all interesting, but do we have any opportunities here? We are listening to you for the last 30-35 minutes. So what is it for us in this? So opportunities, as you have seen, every place is using data science. Everywhere data science is being used. So they're tracking your, say, your wearables. If you have your wearables like your iWatch or your Samsung Watch or all these Fitbits, they track your routines and tell you, okay, you are not walking enough today, you're not sleeping peacefully today. That's the kind of data that's coming from your wearable technologies, and there are various places where it's being used. So agriculture, it's being used in agriculture. So there are various industries where they are using it. So there is a lot of opportunity in all these places. So it is for us to embrace this new area. Uh, you're all say from the commerce background, and do say purely finance based companies or other companies who are into money banking, do they use all this? Yes, they do it a lot. So there is opportunity in every industry. And the second question is, should you have any technical competence? So in the next few slides, I've also discussed some of these, and I've come back to this slide again. So technical competence wise, I'll talk in a bit. So can we go to the next slide, please? So there is a role of a data analyst. So when you're talking about competence required, there is a role of a data analyst who is going to mine into data, prepare the data. Mining is drilling into a data or slicing, dicing the data, or to be in layman terms, just looking deeper into the data. Take the data and see, okay, this is the kind of money this age group is spending. So you know the age group of all your say a bank knows the age group of their customers and where they spend their money. So it can tell you, okay, these are all the areas where the customer is spending. So that analysis, that mining, getting into the data and finding out these relationships is the data mining process. And then preparing summaries which can help key stakeholders in their decision making. So it tells you there is a relationship between this age group and this kind of spending. So when you are sending your promotions, business promotions next time, you can send it to the age group, say 20 to 28. This is the group which is spending more on entertainment. And then from 28 to 35, they are spending more on their insurance, health insurance and all that. So you can send it to them and so on. Or they are trying to buy a car or trying to buy a property in this age. So send some advertisements, focus some programs on these people. So this is the kind of work a data analyst does. So data analyst skills require a lot of technical understanding, databases, programming tools, SQL, and so on and so forth. Can I acquire these skills? These are not rocket science. Anyone can acquire it. You spend 5 to 6 months dedicated into the space during your studies. You can continue your college and parallelly you can study about SQL programming. I think there is a website called w3schools.com. If you want to note down, W, the alphabet W followed by 3, numerical 3, schools, SCHOOLS, schools.com, where you go and you read about all these SQL technology, various technologies, databases, and then see when you have time, I would recommend, it's not my job to do that, but I would recommend instead of spending time on these Facebooks, WhatsApps, and Instagrams, I would recommend you spend some time. I'd not say come out of it completely. Spare some time for this as well. You are learning as well. Say half an hour, 1 hour a day, trying to learn these skills will take you great heights. Because this is the most happening thing today, and you have to be equipped in this. Even if you are going into your mainstream commerce-based employment, it is important to have an understanding of these areas. So that is the role of a data analyst. This looks a bit technical. You have to have some computing background. So going to the next slide. Yeah, there is a role for a business analyst. So who's a business analyst? Today, it is also used in the software world. Say when you go into a large organization, they are building their own software application. They need somebody who understands technology and understands business to be the bridge between these two groups. So there is a bank which needs a software, and there is a software company which is ready to build a software. They have their skills to build the software, but who's going to give the requirement? A banker, if you ask him to explain his process, he'll simply put in his terms. He'll tell you we get a LC and then we discount it, we give the money to the customer, and so on and so forth. And when you go to a programmer, he doesn't even know what is an LC. So what is an LC and what is discounting? How is the money given to the customer? They don't know anything about any of these processes. So there must be somebody who understands the business side of it and explains it in technical terms, or puts it in simple technical say parlance for the technology group, who can then develop the application. So this skill is very important. I would say one of the most important skills in the overall application development, or even data science. Data scientists, data analysts, they know how to drill down the data, but you have to tell them, okay, this data is about so and so say area, and this data has so many fields, and I want to know whether there is a relationship. Say in the last example I gave you, they may not come up with those relationship automatically. You have to tell them, okay, I'm looking for improving my lending in this bank, so which group to target for what kind of loan? In the age group of say 23 to 26, 27, who are having their salary accounts, why don't you offer in this range, because their salaries are also created in the account, they know what is the salary range. You can offer two-wheeler loans. If the salaries are in a different range, you can offer four-wheeler loans. And if these are already going out as EMIs, then you can probably offer a home loan. So data analysts may not know all this. So a business analyst is sitting there, and then they identify that, okay, there is an opportunity here for improving efficiency or reducing costs, or improving some other metric. And then working with a data scientist or data analyst to get all this information out, and then draw conclusions, and then present these alternatives, not one alternative, probably you have 3-4 alternatives coming out of it. Present this to the stakeholders for decision making. And if you are already at that level, say you have gradually moved to that level, then you just work with the data analyst directly and ask them these questions, and once they give the information, you can take your decisions based on that. So that is the role of a business analyst. So one is purely technical, the other one is a little bit of technical and mostly business acumen, knowledge of cost, knowledge of business. These are all the important skills you will see in a business analyst role. So I see that the one thing in my 20 years of experience, I've seen that people who are totally say programmed to be a programmer, hardcore programmers, they don't get this business side that well. They don't understand it, or they are not able to be that street smart. What I found is people coming from the commerce background, or non-technical folks, add this in them. So you go to some of the large successful entities in the globe, like your Apple. Steve Jobs was not a technology person. So he was originally, say, he is a creative person. He was not a programmer. So he had his partners who were doing the programming. Similarly, many other companies, you will see that there is a core technical expertise person with a core technical expertise, and there is somebody who is more business minded. So you need a lot of these people as well. More importantly, these people to execute these ideas, take these ideas and make it into actionable products. So all this happens in the business analyst world. So moving on, next slide, please. So in short, I found some, say probably if this deck is going to be shared with you, you can take a look at that link. I found some of this information, the exact wordings I picked from one of these education university website, which is northeastern.edu. And say business analysts use data to help organization make more effective business decisions. So they are the ones who use this data, and who are going to provide them the data in the required format, or who's going to analyze and provide this information. Normally a data analyst does it for them. So moving on, and it's not too late. You can even get into the data analyst space, or get into say some bit of programming. I don't say that you have to be strong in programming. Understand programming if you want to be really successful. Understand what is database, understand how it works, how you can fetch data from a database. All these are key to be successful in today's world, whichever industry you are in. You need to understand how data works, how databases work, and how we can draw out intelligence from these databases. Ask the right questions. That's very important. So as I said, our commerce graduates, the right pick. Of course, I would say say this in any forum that commerce graduates are well equipped to be uh, in the business analyst space or even into data analytics. Once you get the data skills, then you are far superior hire for any organization. So how to skill yourselves? So you have to start somewhere. You have to start learning about these. Go into your YouTube channels where you're watching something else. Spend some time watching about data analytics, business analysts, advancement in data science, latest in data science, data engineering, and so on and so forth. So once you start looking at these, you will get a lot more ideas. As I said, we are just scratching the surface here. We are not going in depth into it. And say you can start skilling yourselves on some basics of programming, as I said, from the w3schools.com, or there are various programs available in various online education portals, e-learning portals. You can go register yourself for some programs and do it. Initially, until you get a feel of it, don't just jump into spending some money. Don't go and ask your parents for, okay, I need 2 lakhs to get into this certification program. So don't do that. First, understand what is happening in this world, because it's too vast. You end up spending valuable money, valuable resources in a particular space, and then you find out that, okay, that's not my cup of tea. So you don't want to get out of it after spending so much money. So understand this space well before you take your decision. So before you even spend some money, there are various certification programs available in both say business analysts as well as being a data science person. In Microsoft, you can go get some certification there. All these are good. Said every industry uses it. If you have that skill, basic skills, you don't even need a certification. If you know how to handle data, how to query information out from a database, that will be an excellent add-on when you are being hired by any company today, because everyone's sitting on large databases. It's not everyone's having large ledgers, hard books which you need to open, flip, and write down. Today, it's all in the databases. So if you can show some skills of querying, basic SQL querying to extract data, or some basic technology skills, basic programming understanding, then you are a much more superior hire for an organization compared to a non-technical person. So where to start? As I said, start looking at these videos online, free videos online. Take some sample courses available on portals like your Coursera.com, edX.com. All these will help you get there. So quickly, we are nearing the end. So moving to the next slide, please. I would say these are the 3 key skills for anyone. Even if you're a technology person, the 1 and 3 are very important. And if you want to be a business analyst, these 3 are very important. So you need to understand the business you are working with. That is the key. You cannot say that I don't know this business, but I want to be a business analyst for this business. You want to improve the results, then you need to know what is happening in that company. Say you need to understand, identify the problems there. You can do that only if you know the industry very well. So how to get this skill? So go watch all these. See, if you can get into a factory, excellent. If you have factory visits organized during your course of education, excellent. Nothing like that. Otherwise, look at all these the mega engineering, and then food tech, and then how it's made. All these programs are there on the History Channel, Discovery Channel, and again, these are all freely available on YouTube. You don't need to have a subscription to a History or a Discovery. You can go to YouTube and then say Discovery, how it's made. Then they'll give you a list of factories and how they operate. And then also listen to some podcasts. Say I often listen to a podcast on how I built it. So how I built it is a National Public Radio podcast coming streamed from the New York. So if you listen to it, they'll tell you how many of these companies were incorporated and they became what they are today. their journey to become a successful company and how many failures they faced before becoming a successful company. If you are interested in understanding business, you need to listen to all this, because you don't get hands-on experience. That will be very costly, and it's going to take a lot of time. So once you start listening to these podcasts when you're on a train or a bus and you're traveling, you can just have your headphones on and listen to it. There is it's free and it's easy to listen to. And there are apps like your say tunein.com is one app, and then if you are subscribed to some other apps like Spotify and others, you can listen there, or if for free you can listen to these on tunein.com, tunein. So you start listening to these business podcasts, then you get this business acumen. You gradually get it. You will not get it just I started today, tomorrow you become Mukesh Ambani. You cannot become that, but you will gradually get it. And then basic understanding of technology, as I said, please get into understanding technology, the querying, basic visualization skills, basics of Excel. All these are very important, because even if you are a business analyst, you have to communicate with technology people in a language that they would understand. You cannot go to, say, France and completely talk in Hindi and expect them to understand, or talk to them in some other country's language and try expect them to understand. It's like that. You are going to talk to somebody who understands technology, tech jargons. You have to talk to them using tech jargons, or at least explain to them in a way they understand. So that is very important. And the third, probably that should be the first. The most important thing is to improve things should be there ingrained into you, into your being. So I always want to improve things should be your frame of mind. So only then this happens. So where to start? Again, start this with how you maintain your stuff in your home, how you arrange your cupboards, and how you arrange your handbags. All these places you can start this. Do it day in, day out. It becomes a habit. Initially, it would be a lot of strain. I know when my parents used to tell me when I was a kid that keep your things in order, keep your books in order, store them in a proper place. It used to be a lot of strain or stress when I'm listening to all this. But today I really enjoy it, because that gave me, say, made me what I am today. So start practicing it, whether somebody is telling you or not. Become organized. Always want to improve how things are every day. Then you automatically become a business analyst. Going to the next slide, please. So then comes, so far we have been talking only about data analytics, where you are using say somebody querying data, analyzing data and getting results, or programming a solution to query data. So a tool is querying the data. You are not doing it, but some tool is querying all this data, establishing relationships, and then giving you a relationship or outcome or a decision point. So machine learning, you would have heard a lot about it. So I just want to give you a quick glimpse into what is machine learning. Machine learning is a technology that does all this on its own. You just throw junk data into it. It will try to find out some relationship between all these fields and draw conclusions and give you, okay, I find these things in this data. Looks like this age group people are spending on this, or looks like this these kind of people like to watch this kind of movies. All these are given in the machine learning. Again, if this is shared, otherwise look up for machine learning application cheat sheet, the Google, you will get this image. So what this does, machine learning is nothing, applying advanced statistics into data. So what you will normally do, look at variance, standard deviation, all this you would have read in your statistics. So there are various advanced statistics as well, regression, multivariate regression analysis. All these are going to be used on data sets to find out a relationship. So machine learning does that for you. Once you give the data and tell what algorithm to use. Algorithm is based on all these statistics. So statistical methodologies. So once I have this, it does it for me. So in where to use what kind of algorithm is this cheat sheet. If you are working with single variable data, so then what you should do, underlying variable. Then if you have multiple influencers, many influencers on a single outcome, what you should do, and so on and so forth. So you can take a look at it later on. But this is just to give you some idea of what is machine learning. Machine learning is statistical methodologies applied by a machine or a computer on a data set to find out some relationships or some outliers. Outliers are exceptions, and then tell you what is the problem with that data, or what is good with the data, what is the thing, how you can meaningfully use that data. So moving on. Okay, good. We are towards the end. It's almost, yeah, it's 12:30 already. And if you have some questions, you can ask. If you have enough time for that, we'll be more than happy to answer those.
Thank you so much for the informative talk, sir. Through your speech, we
Thank
have
you.
gained more knowledge about data analytics and you have encouraged us to take data analytics as a profession. Shall we move on to the Q&A session, sir?
Absolutely, sure.
What industries need analysts?
As I said, almost every industry needs it. Sports, for example, today uses a lot of analytics. So earlier, when you say you've been following cricket for a while, I've been following cricket for a long time, so my example is going to be on cricket. So if you've been following cricket, Sehwag, Virendra Sehwag was a very powerful hitter. He was always a successful batsman. And what happened was they started reading his batting using video analytics. They started applying video analytics and then read the way he bats. So where is his strong point? Where is his weak point? And eventually they got him out. As soon as he entered the field, he was out, because they knew that if you bowl at this particular point, he'll automatically hit it and he'll be caught in at the point region. Again, if you follow cricket, point region is somewhere straight in front of the player. So and that happened 9 out of 10 times after that, and then he retired. So data science can influence that. And then politics uses it today. Facebook uses it heavily. You go into Facebook, they'll tell you recommend you friends. LinkedIn is recommending you friends. If you're on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is recommending you friends. Facebook is recommending you some uh, buy something, join some program, or do this, do that, like this page. How do they do it? It's based on they reading your activity on Facebook. So every industry uses it. Agriculture uses it. So the oldest of businesses, agriculture uses it to identify the right season to plant based on the current climatic conditions. What can we do? How to prevent the crop? All these are all done by technology.
That was an interesting answer, sir. Can we have the next question, please? Or data science and data analytics the same?
Data science is a vast area compared to data analytics. Data analytics is a small subset of data science. Data science is, as I said, about driverless cars, manless mission to Mars. Everywhere you have data science. Data science looks at handling tons and tons of data, and then that too by machines on their own to draw conclusions. One interesting thing that happened in the data science space is they created say to artificial language. They programmed to artificial language, like how we speak Tamil, Hindi, English. They created to artificial language inside Facebook, and after a while they started talking to each other, and the programmers could not even understand what they are talking, so they had to eventually switch it off. And then today we have data science working in playing chess. And I recently heard that mahjong, or some Chinese game which was never possible for a computer recently defeated one of the most successful players. And how is all this happening? Because of data science. So data science is a larger universe, and data analytics is a humanly manageable part inside that.
Amazing answer, sir. Next question, please. In addition to the skills mentioned in this session, are there any other general skills needed to be and use successful in data analytics world?
Of course, for any business, your ability to communicate and comprehend your thoughts is very important. I recommend this to my students. As I said, I've been teaching for the last 20 plus years. What I tell them is, even if you understand a concept very well when your teacher is or your professor is delivering it in your classroom, to write it down in an examination, you have to be good at comprehending the knowledge and communicating it to the examiner. So how do you do it? I recommend them start with their favorite movies. So you watch a movie for 2.5 hours, and then summarize it in very good English in 2 minutes, or whichever language you want. Comprehending skills is not dependent on the language. So you take comprehending skills, summarize a 2.5 hour movie. You would have done this in your school as comprehension or prissy writing. So this is more or less like prissy writing, but summarizing a 2 hour, 2.5 hour long movie which you really loved, and then summarizing it in less than 2 minutes in very good English, then you are done. That is more than enough for you to become successful in your business world, because there are complex business problems and you have to explain it in simple way to your stakeholders so that they immediately understand it and they put it into use. That is very important. And other than your technical skills, this is a very good soft skill to have. And as I told you, you can improve it by doing all this.
Amazing answer, sir. Next question, please. Will data analytics still be the most lucrative job 20 years from now?
As I said, we are just started. So this is the information age. We were in the Stone Age, Ice Age, Stone Age, Iron Age, all these things, Industrial Age, and today is the information age. And I don't see this ending in the next few decades. So probably a century, and we'll be much more getting into much more complex data analysis, information being used for various things, including influencing your actions. We see some science fiction movies today, but Google has come up with wearable technologies, are trying to come up with wearable technologies where you have it on your head, and if you're thinking, it'll think alongside you. You don't have to search Google for answers. It'll provide the answers through stimuli to your neural network in your head, and you'll be able to find the answers. So these are super advanced data science analytics I'm talking about. So these are all happening, and it's not going to end in the next few years. This just started. So it's still in its nascent stage. I would say it's a baby, learning to crawl, just learning to walk. It's good, or it's actually encouraging as well as scary to know that this is still a baby. So once it grows, it may grow beyond us. So
Interesting answer, sir. That was our last question. Thank you
okay,
for the graceful answers, sir.
yeah,
Now
thank you
I
so
request
much.
Miss Now I request Ms. Zulfichan Beham, Cultural Secretary, aided to propose the vote of thanks.
It is my pleasant duty to propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I thank God Almighty for making this day possible for us. Next, I would like to thank our speaker, Mr. Stevenson PB, for agreeing to be here and for his talk on data analytics, which we found very interesting, inspiring, and meaningful. I'm sure our student will be immensely benefited by the thoughts you shared, and we will surely make the most out of it. Thank you very much, sir. I thank our principal, Dr. S. Kodai, and Dr. D.B. Usharani, principal in charge and vice principal aided, and Dr. T. Ushapriya, self supporting, for their encouragement in all our endeavors. I thank my beloved HODs and all our faculty members for guiding us and making this day a successful one. I like to thank our student volunteers and Team Comet 2021 for their kind cooperation in organizing this event. I once again take this opportunity to thank every one of you for your presence and active participation. Thank you all once again.
We have come to the end of the session. Thank you all for your active participation. Stay connected for the upcoming events.